Hello, I'm Mark Shardlow. One question we're asking tonight: what do you need to win the Premier League and the FA Cup when you're not part of the Big Six? We've got a man here tonight who knows. We've also got a chat with Nigel Clough in the snow and a look ahead to a tricky set of fixtures for Forest, Notts and Mansfield. Welcome along to Team Talk. Thanks for being with us. So we're the only chat show on TV talking Forest, Notts and Mansfield, and now we're on YouTube too. So thanks for joining us if you've found us there. Every week my sidekick is former Forest coach, Notts striker and manager and current Mansfield Town youth coach. It's Charlie McParland, and our guest today is a big legend in his home city here in Nottingham and was also the captain of the 5,000-to-1 Premier League winners Leicester City. It's Wes Morgan. Wes, good to see you here again.
Good to see you too.
What are you doing now?
Just doing a bit of work at Nottingham Forest at the moment.
You're back with Forest?
Yes, I am. In the recruitment space, so working in the academy, working on 15s to 21s, which is the PDP phase of academy system. And it's something I'm enjoying at the moment.
What age were you when you walked through Forest doors for the first time?
What age was I? We're going way back a little bit, aren't we now? So I think I was 16, 17.
Okay.
16, 17 when I got trials at Nottingham Forest.
Yeah. And how does it feel going back? What's the atmosphere like at the club at the moment?
It's been open arms. Everyone's buzzing, you know. There's not many people. So I left Nottingham Forest 2012 and obviously went to Leicester. So there's not many people still around from my time when I was there. But still, you know, you'll see the stewards and certain people that, oh, Wes, welcome back, we've missed you, all of that. Like, it was yesterday, so yeah, it's been a good welcome.
Right, we've got plenty to talk about and draw on your experiences of being the underdog, winning the Premier League, winning the FA Cup and lots of things Forest too. And looking ahead to the next few games for Forest, it's a tough set of fixtures that are coming up. Forest go to Arsenal this weekend, looking to maintain their unbeaten away record. Of course, they're coming back from the international break and the players have had a decent time there. Chris Wood scored 5 goals in 2 games for New Zealand. Murillo was an unused sub for Brazil against Uruguay late Tuesday night local time. And another man who didn't get off the bench was Morgan Gibbs-White in his final game for England of the 2. He provided an assist in the win over Greece, but he wasn't used on Sunday against Ireland. And with that in mind, we took to the city to see whether the fans think he should be given more time in an England shirt.
Yes, and because he's a young player, he's very good at what he does, and they need to bring newer people into the England squad now.
I think he'll get into the squad, but it will change under tutor because he's not going to stand no messing about. Coming off bench, I think at the moment we are strong midfielders.
Well, he seems to be doing well with Forest, and Forest are having a good season, and good luck to the guy if he gets the opportunity, and it's up to him to grab it and the chance he gets, and good luck to him, you know.
Could be really helpful to England. Could be a lot better than some of the players are playing at the moment. I think it's quite a lot faster than some of the players that's in the England team now.
As a Notts County fan, I hate to say it because obviously he plays for Forest, but very good player, and I believe he probably should. I think he's a very upcoming talent who could give a lot to the squad that we need. Very good ball carrier, which is something that we kind of require. Obviously we've got a lot of tens with Palmer and Bellingham, but I feel like he'd give a different option if we need something off the bench. As we saw in the Euros, we missed quite a lot with options off the bench.
It's a difficult, like the guy said there's a lot of good number 10s. A lot of players that he didn't even mention that are competing for the position there. What's your stance on this, Charlie?
Listen, me being a Scotsman and looking at the talent England have got, it's really hard to take. They've got some unbelievable football players in that midfield area, be it 10s, be it 8s. I'm a great believer at these England players. They can play number 10, they can play number 8, they can play number 6. I think they're all-round midfielders, and it's going to be very difficult for Gibbs-White to get in that team. And I'm a big fan of Gibbs-White when he's on it and he's doing all the stuff that he's good at, because he's been brilliant for Forest. But you mentioned those players in Curtis Jones, who have followed for a number of years. When I worked in recruitment, I first seen him play at Leicester for Liverpool under-21 game. He was outstanding that night, and you follow these players. He's so good, he's so creative. He gets box to box. He gets the ball, he drops his shoulders, he makes passes into the pockets, he splits defence. Wonderful player. The lad Gallagher, I think he's more a dog. I'm not a big fan, but it's going to be tough for Gibbs. Morgan Rogers, the talent is unbelievable. I hate to say it.
And Elliot Anderson, I'm going to throw in there as well. I mean, what do you think, Wes? It's a real luxury for England at the moment, isn't it? And Tuchel's going to come in and this is a real bag of gold waiting to happen there. I think.
There's some tremendous talent up and coming. I'm glad they got the surname Morgan. Some of the guys that's coming through. But yeah, I think for Morgan Gibbs White, he'll get there in the end. He's a tremendous talent. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing. Yeah, keep doing what he's doing. Keep with the numbers. Assists, goals. His attacking threat, providing for the team, and he's in the frame. He's in the frame. Yeah, he's got a lot of talent in front of him and a lot of competition. But I think he's a talent in himself. If he does really well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of suitors looking out for him.
Keep his feet on the floor. Yeah. Work hard. Keep your head down. Concentrate on football. Going into training every day and do everything you can to make yourself better. Yeah. That is it.
We mentioned a few names that have been out on international duty, and I want to ask you as a defender who won the league, what your thoughts are about the Forest back four, back five at the moment this season. It seems to me like this is such a strength at the moment for Forest that their season is being built on that for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I've watched a lot of Forest games, and I think to be successful, you've got to have a good core, and that's the midfield, defence, and you have your flair players, your Langers, Morgan Gibbs Whites, those type of players to make something happen. And Forest got a solid base, which is great. The back four in particular, Murillo, Milenkovic at the back, solid. They don't concede many chances. Barring the last game, the Newcastle game, they've been tremendous. And I think once you have that solid defence, you can climb up the lead or stay in a good position. And credit to Nuno, he's got them well drilled, well organised, and you can see the hard work paying off.
We've talked on here before about international breaks and players travelling away and then coming back to be back with their club for the weekend. I'm thinking of Murillo here, who played Tuesday night Brazil time, which is Wednesday morning UK time, and then has got probably a 24-hour journey to get back to Nottingham or London when he's hopefully playing against Arsenal this weekend. You obviously played 30-odd times for Jamaica. Yeah. How was it when you returned to club football after a trip away?
Yeah, those trips aren't easy, with the travelling, the logistics to it, and sometimes you land on Thursday. I've landed back on Thursday, just done a warm down, walked through set pieces on a Friday in shape, then played Saturday. And I can tell you, by Saturday you're still not 100% recovered, and you just have to get through it. I think the more you get used to the international football, you're getting called up, you're playing 2 games for your country, and then you have to travel from one side of the world to the next, and you can play the Saturday. If you can get through that phase of your final game for your country and the first game back, and then recover properly when you're, after that first game, you can stand, you give yourself the best chance. Yeah. And I think he'll get used to it. Yeah. I'm sure, he's a young player, and
is it the jet lag, or is it just the whole 24 hours on a plane and stuff like that?
Yeah, you are tired because different time zones and things like that. And you may have played, you may not have played. I know he was involved, so there's lots of things to consider. But I think the key thing for me is how you manage. I'm sure there's a great team at Forest that know how to kind of make sure the players at the optimum best on the return, got the right recovery. So when they play the game, they can get through the game, then they can properly recover after that and then be ready for the next games moving forward.
On your travel, was it first class travel? Or
For Jamaica?
no, I'm just like...
Hey, to be fair, with Jamaica, there wasn't the best in terms of logistics. So sometimes it was connection flights. Sometimes I'd travel out, have to have a layover, fly again in first thing in the morning. We'll argue for first class and business class and stuff like that. And they'll tend to provide that, but sometimes a big contingent coming from England, it wouldn't be always the case.
I just look at the Premier League clubs now. I think it's in their interest. Yeah. If they even have to pay a bit extra to get their players on first class. So if it is an overnight flight, they can get their head down. Yeah. And I know the main problem is the jet lag, and it's the jet lag and the different time differences. But if they're getting asleep, you know, and I think it's in their interest to pay, because they're awash with cash, Premier League clubs.
But it must be difficult. I mean, thinking of your managers at Leicester. I mean, they must be conflicted. They must be pleased that you're going off and representing your country, but knowing that you might come back completely exhausted.
Well, I don't have to be pleased, you know.
Yeah.
I think
were they supportive?
Yeah, well, I think from the manager's point of view, you know, they're focused on you being fit and ready for the club football.
How was your performances when you got back from international duty?
I would like to say good, but I think for me, you know, I'm always used to playing consecutive games, you know, all the time.
You're never injured,
you know,
you never miss a game.
I can cope, you know. I kind of struggle to sleep anyway, a little bit, especially, you know, later on in my career. So I've managed myself to kind of perform on less sleep. So, yeah, I know I could get through it, but I know that's not the same for everyone. So
everybody's different, yeah. After the game at night, how did you feel like a Saturday night or that when you've did all the travelling, you've played in a Premier League game? What were you like Saturday night? Was it vodka and coke, or was it, or was it straight to bed?
Well, you know, I always like to wind down.
Was it Bacardi and coke?
I like to wind down with stiff brandy, you know, get the feet up, relax. I think times have changed a little bit now, you know. Be more hydration gels and recovery supplements and stuff like that. But I think a straight stiff brandy don't do no harm.
We'll leave it there for the time being. Time for a quick break now. When we get back, we'll be chatting more about Forest, Mansfield Town and Notts County, and talk to Wes about his time at Forest and just down the road in Leicester. Welcome back to Team Talk with me, Mark Shardlow, joined as always by former Notts County forward and manager, now Mansfield Town youth coach, Charlie McParland. And today we've got former Forest and Leicester defender, Wes Morgan. Right, so Forest's come back from the international break away at Arsenal. It's a tough one off the back of the Newcastle defeat. How are you sort of sensing the Arsenal game? Forest have unbeaten, of course, away from home, but it's a tricky one, isn't it?
They've done all right against some of the big teams, though.
Yeah.
You know, you can't dismiss them so easily, I don't think.
No, I think Forest, right, are very difficult to play against. And we just spoke about that back four. Murillo and Milenkovic, Oleana, Marino, and even if Williams comes in, Nico Williams, I think he's a marvellous player. He's very unfortunate not to be in. They've got that solid base. They don't concede a lot of goals. I think they can go down there and maybe nick a draw.
Yeah, really?
And I would take that now.
Yeah.
But again, the Arsenal one won't define the season. But if I'm Nottingham Forest, and Nuno, I'm sure, he won't be fearing going down to Arsenal. And, you know, the players won't have any fear going to Arsenal. They've no fear going anywhere. They had an off day against Newcastle. I thought Newcastle were very good.
Yeah.
But Forest weren't at their best. They had 2 or 3 players that just had an off day on that day, probably 3-4 players. So, again, regroup, hopefully they're all back, they're not injured, they get freshened up, and you go again.
Yeah. Should we look at the table? I mean, you've rejoined Forest, Wes. I mean, the place must be buzzing when you see the table. Sort of crazy, really, isn't it? When the expectations have gone up, but just to be in the top 3 for even part of the season is fantastic for the fans. But now it's about like earning more points, trying to get top half, trying to get into Europe.
Yeah, I think we can all agree. You know, they've done a lot better than a lot of people's expected. That's for sure. But it's fully deserved. You know, they've worked hard. They've been organised. They've got a solid back four, solid midfield that's, you know, competent and go about their job diligently. And when you got someone like Chris Wood who's in tremendous form that can score, you know, you give yourself the best chance possible. And I think what I like about Forest at the moment, they've shown no fear. You know, they've gone to some big teams, the Liverpools, the Chelseas, and got results. Got results, you know, and that does great for your confidence and moving forward. You know, the team will go into a game like Arsenal knowing that, you know what, Let's just not try and hang in there and get some out of it. We know with our capabilities, what we've got, what we've shown, we can get a result. So they'll be confident. And if you look at the other side of it, Arsenal, they're going through a bit of a rough patch at the moment. So, it's probably the best time to face Arsenal with the form that Forest are in and the form that Arsenal are in.
Yeah, 2 defeats, 2 draws in the last 4 games for Arsenal. So, do you use that as part of your pre-match preparation?
Yes, you'll show them the results. But again, every Premier League game is a very tough game. And the thing is, right, Nottingham Forest have proved this season they don't concede a lot of goals. And they've proved this season they can score goals. And are very good on the counter-attack. Very good. They've got those quick players. Hudson-Odoi when he's at it. Alanga when he's at it. They weren't at it against Newcastle, them two. And even Gibbs White wasn't his normal self. But when those players are at it and they're bombing forward with the ball, and you've got Chris Woods in that 18-yard box, in the 6-yard box, in the second 6-yard box, he's capable of scoring goals. So it's a very intriguing tie. But it won't define the season for Nottingham Forest. Let's keep our feet on the ground, and they've done absolutely marvellous.
And we've said it several times this season that Nuno's got a lot of options now compared to the last season and Steve Cooper in his first season in the Premier League. He can change around the side without weakening it. So what would your view be this weekend going down to Arsenal? You're going to stick with Alanga and Hudson-Odoi? You're going to bring back Elliot Anderson? You're bringing back James Ward-Prowse?
It's an interesting one because when he went to Liverpool, he left the speedy boys out, the real counter-attacking attackers. And he sort of played with inverted midfielders and filled his midfield, and it worked. Then later on in the game, he brought his flyers on, and it won the game for him. And more or less all the decisions, maybe apart from the 4-4-2 against Fulham, have really worked this season for Nuno. Yeah. He's came up trumps, and he knows the game. He did marvellous at Wolverhampton, and. So far he's did great this season, and like you say, they've got options. They can play the more sort of defensive midfielders, or they can play and really go for it with the 2 wide attacking ones. He's got Ward-Prowse there to come back. He's got Elliot Anderson who can play as a sort of inside forward midfielder, and he can have Yates and Dominguez. Yeah, Dominguez has been outstanding for me. Outstanding.
Did he answer the question? I think you gave
what,
us a list.
What you're saying is, I've gave you all options. What would I do?
What would you do? Yeah, exactly.
What would I do? I would go with one inverted midfielder and just fill it a bit, and go with one of the flyers out wide.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Is that okay for you?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy with that. That's
enough, I've answered it finally.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. There you go.
Not going to push you.
So I would probably go with Elliot Anderson. Just playing as an inside, sort of like inside forward, and I would go with either Hudson-Odoi and Alanga. So you've got that bit pace, you've got the guile on the ball, the more the defensive one. Yeah. So you've sort of got that extra, who's a bit more trustworthy, running back the way than the other two.
And it's great to have these options, isn't it, Wes?
It really
to be able, it gives us something to debate week in, week out.
Yeah, and I think it goes to show the strength and depth of the squad. You're not relying on the same players, the same 11, and then if 1 or 2 injuries kick in, you're like, okay, we're struggling now. Nuno has changed shapes, he's changed personnel, and the Liverpool game that Chaz alluded to, in particular, I think when we looked at the team sheet, like, how are we going to win this game? We've got no kind of much attacking threat.
Right,
but you wear down the opposition, you nullify threats that the opposition have, and it's just game smarts. A manager manages the team and sets out the best team that gives yourself the best chance to defeat that opponent, and it worked on that occasion. So I expect something the same for the Arsenal game.
Let's have a look. I mean, it's not just Arsenal though. It's a tough run that's coming up. Ipswich at home, although Ipswich have found a bit of form. Then we've got City away, United away, Villa at home. The next away match after that is Brentford. It's a tough run of fixtures. What sort of return are you looking for the next 5 then, Charlie, when you look at those 5 games?
Well, I'd take a point all day at Arsenal. I think it's imperative that they beat Ipswich at home. And Ipswich, again, are no slouches. They're in every game. They play with lots of energy. They're well organised. And I just hope, like Ipswich, lose a game this week or that. And so maybe when they come to Forest they're not as confident. So I'd like 3 points here. Man City, I'll always go with Man City because if they're at it, you know, they can beat anybody in the world. Man United, I don't know what this lad is going to do. I'd like to think they could go to Man United and get a draw.
Yeah.
Aston Villa at home, if you get the best Villa, you know, it's a tough game, but Villa at home, you know, you would take a draw.
Yeah, so you're going 6 points from 5 games.
Yeah, 7 points.
Yeah,
or they could even beat Villa. Villa have had a little sticky.
Yeah,
patch.
is he being pessimistic or optimistic? Where are you sitting, Wes?
I'm pessimistic.
That's
That's the best, to be fair. You know what? I did like the breakdown, how he broke it down, to be fair. And I agree. You know, I agree. And I don't often agree with you. No, you know, you have to look at the... You have to look at the fixtures and look at the opposition and kind of what form they're going to be in. And it's a tough one, but you know, Forest got to focus on themselves.
Forest can go and beat anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
They should have beat Chelsea. Yeah. Unfortunately, not to go down to Brighton and beat them.
Yeah.
Went up to Liverpool, beat them. So listen, there's a lot of positives there, and like these small margins in games that can like goalkeepers save or you know.
Great. I'm going to come back and ask you a few more questions in the next part, Wes, about Forest and your experiences at Leicester. But we're going to leave the men for the moment. Look at Forest women, who are top of their league. They were back at the City Ground on Sunday. They beat Stoke by 4-0. The goals coming from summer signing Kate Longhurst, Millie Chandarana, Holly Olding and Freya Thomas. The Reds are now a point clear of second place Wolverhampton Wanderers, and they're playing Wolves at the City Ground at the start of next season. Here's the fourth one that's going in. And then after the game, we had a little chat with head coach Carly Davis, who said she was pleased with what she said was one of their best games of the season. Here's the goal.
I thought we were dominant all over the pitch, both on and off the ball. I thought our midfield were very good. Holly Olding in particular kept Millie Raven in quiet all game, and that's no easy task. She's a very good player. So, great afternoon, great turnout of fans, 4 goals, clean sheet, back to the top of the league. Right up there with the best. It's been a while since we've had a really competitive fixture, and you know, we knew that Stoke were going to be that. We knew we had to step up, and that's what we've demanded of the players all week in training, and they turned up today. And yeah, what a result, what a performance. I'm really pleased for the girls.
I wish she would smile a bit more. I smile more than Carly.
No, I'm not.
She's winning every week.
Yeah.
Have a smile a bit. You know.
Staying grounded, Charlie. Staying grounded.
Yeah, don't be miserable.
Top of the league.
Top
We've got
of the
a couple of
league games.
couple of cup matches ahead of Christmas, and then the big game. I think there are going to be a couple of matches that are going to decide who wins this league. It's going to be Burnley, but Wolverhampton Wanderers coming up in January.
They're full time now, so you know they've got a great chance of going up. Hopefully they go up. But when you win, smile a bit.
And 2,000 at the City Ground for that one.
Fantastic.
I think that hopefully we'll get more for the Wolves game, because that can be really billed as like first v second. It's such a big game. I think it's the 6th of Jan, that one. So looking forward to seeing that. But at the moment, you wanted to smile, but there's plenty to smile about.
Keep winning and keep smiling.
Very good. Are you seeing much of the women at all? Do you get? They're part of the family now, I suppose, at Forest, which is good to see.
When I'm at the training ground, I do see them coming in, training, getting around the pitch. Very friendly.
Did they train at Wolford?
No,
Wolford. Wolford and down on the
Trent. In the evening time. So.
Okay, Wes, we'll be talking to you a bit more after the break, if that's okay. Welcome back to Team Talk with me, Mark Shardlow, and with us today we've got Wes Morgan, and we're going to talk to Wes in this part of the programme just to find out a little bit more about your footballing life. When did you dream of becoming a professional footballer?
When? It's not a straightforward. No, it's not a straightforward answer, to be fair. You know, you enjoy playing football. You're a young kid. You play on the streets. You're causing havoc, kicking balls against fences and garages, and making a lot of noise and racket. So you're just enjoying the moment. You're enjoying the time, and you realise you might have a bit of a talent. You know, you're getting picked for a lot of teams. You're getting Player of the Year awards and etc. etc. I think definitely towards the end of the Canada academy system. So around about 14, 15, you start thinking, in my perspective, that, okay, I might be able to make it as a footballer. But I've never really, from my early years, because you see a lot of kids now thinking, I want to be a footballer, I want to be a footballer. For me, I've just kind of enjoyed the football, playing with my mates, doing as best as I can, and just enjoying the time.
To be fair, you always look throughout the career, you're just enjoying yourself out there, you know.
It's quite a laid back.
Yeah. When did you guys meet them?
Well, you were at Notts County to start with, weren't you?
Yeah, but did we ever?
No. The first time I set eyes on Wes is when he came in from Dunkirk.
Yeah.
Came in on trial, and we signed him.
Are you reserve manager then?
Yes.
Right.
Forest, yeah.
Yeah. And no, I don't know if me and Harty were in the. No, I can't remember if me and Harty were in the academy or with the first team.
No, Nick was the academy.
Was it
so
Nick?
I think he was first team.
Yeah. I was up with the first team with Harty and the then he came in.
Yeah.
Then we had to get him fit.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the story?
I think, I think obviously coming back into that environment, I think I probably had a year and a half out of kind of academy setup,
I'll tell you now, the best.
I was going to college, and for lunch at college, you just go to the chip shop.
Let's say
so I wasn't in the fittest condition.
Let's say he wasn't fit as other lads, which is to be expected because they're training every day. The best thing that happened to us, right, was when Wes walked through that door, right, and signed for Nottingham Forest, and we signed him because the rest is history.
What was that moment like when you signed for Forest?
I was buzzing. I feel like I had a bit of a sour taste leaving Notts County and didn't get in a scholarship at the time. I was unsure where I was going to go, so I went to college, played semi-pro football at Dunkirk, got trials at Nottingham Forest, and I thought, you know what, it's just a second chance, a second opportunity. And I've always believed in myself. I've always thought, I'm good enough. When you play against good opponents, strikers and that, I know no one ever got past me, so I must have something.
Not at all.
So when I had that chance at Forest, 1 week trial, I was like, I'm going to have to make an impression. And 1 week trial turned into 2 weeks for a month, and then a month for the season. But like Chaz said, I had a lot of time just kind of obviously training and working on fitness before I actually, got on the pitch and represented Forest.
He was laughing away. Did they get you doing some crazy things then when it came to fitness?
No, it was just extra work. So you're just training, you're doing everything else the same as the other guys. But one day we'll go in, I'll probably go into the gym, do some extra work, or on match days I'd come in and just do some running. And it's, rightly so. I wasn't in the best condition to play. I could train and that, but to get to that proper, academy elite level, because Forest back in that time, they was one of the best academies around. Everyone was super fit, can play 90 minutes with the eyes closed, and I wasn't up to that level, so there's a lot of work needed.
So that just, again, that's character and desire. Yeah. Because he's went and he says, right, I'm going to get my head down here, and I'm going to give myself the best chance possible after he left Notts County, So again, Notts County, it was their loss, and now again. Yeah. And like I say, the rest is history. He got in under 18s, he got in the reserves, first team, and I must admit, couldn't happen to a nicer lad.
Yeah. I mean, so loyal, so many great performances at Forest. We all remember the pace that you had as well, which surprised a lot of people. Just a great time at Forest, but you moved to rivals Leicester. What happened there?
You know what? You spend a lot of time, some people do, at certain clubs, and I think for me, for my personal goals, I want to play in the Premier League. I was at Forest 9.5 years in total, my hometown club. I grew up just across the bridge. I could hear from my bedroom when Forest scored, so many good memories. Friends and family, big Forest fans. But I think for my personal journey and career, I wanted to play at that top level and see how I coped. And when Leicester came calling, I saw it as a great opportunity to do that, with how they've got new owners at the time, and there's investing a lot in the team and the infrastructure and trying to push for that Premier League. I thought that was my best chance to get into a club that's got a real prospect of getting to the Premier League and the prime of trade there. So yeah,
Who
that
was
my
manager at the
decision.
time at Leicester?
Nigel Pearson.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nigel Pearson.
What a partnership you had with Huth.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
was formidable, wasn't it? Robert
Yeah,
Huth and
but
Wes.
lots of partners at Leicester, you know, and then obviously in the Premier League winning season, you know, me and Huth, we definitely got a solid partnership then.
I posed the question at the start of the programme because I know, like, I'm not saying that Forest are in the same position as Leicester and they're going to win the Premier League, but from where I sit, and I covered that season at Leicester City, I do see some similarities between Forest and Leicester, the sort of band of brothers, even a manager with a twinkle in his eyes and a nice smile, and also one or two teams sort of dropping points around you and sort of sneaking up on the outside.
You're a romantic. He's a romantic.
But you know, we've got.
You have to be a romantic.
You've got to
You
in
have to
some
think,
respects.
yeah,
but
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I don't see Forest overhauling Liverpool or Man City this season. But for you, you know, breaking into it, breaking away from that big six and actually doing the unthinkable. What was the key? What was the secret? And as captain, could you quite believe it at any stage?
Yeah, it's weird. Obviously, the season before, you know, we just avoided relegation. We only just got promoted to the Premier League. So our mindset from the beginning was, okay, let's not be as bad as we was. You know, let's be more secure. Let's not be in the relegation zone and having to fight right at the end of the season. Obviously, the opposite happened. I think a key thing that happened to us, we signed N'Golo Kante.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You know, so he's like two players on the pitch. So we already got an advantage on everyone. And then, yeah, in terms of kind of that team togetherness and, you know, how we all used to get along, you know, we had some great leaders in the team, you know, that wouldn't let no player slack, but everyone wouldn't slack anyway. Everyone was ready to fight for, you know, what we wanted to do, with the management that we had there and the staff that was behind us. The secret, to answer your question, the secret is, it's hard to say, you know. It's hard to say.
The secret is, for me, is I think good players who all at the top of the game. Kasper Schmeichel, goalkeeper, right down the spine. Wes, Robert Huth, central defenders. Kante, Drinkwater was on fire.
Yeah.
Jamie Vardy, scoring goals.
We have
Mahrez. Wow, you look at that team, and I thought they were brilliant.
But you only look at that team in retrospect, don't you? You can say the same for Forest this year. You know, like they've come up, they've got some really good players that Forest have.
Yeah.
And also, if you see the social media, you see the guys enjoying themselves.
You really
don't
want
you?
to talk, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You know, I sort of, you know, I remember the Jamie Vardy party. You know, in his kitchen, and you see the band of brothers and the togetherness. And you see bits of that at Forest.
I was actually at a Nottingham Forest game, right? Then I went up to the South Bank, and Leicester were playing in the Saturday night game against Man United, and you beat them down at Leicester. And when Leicester scored, the Nottingham Forest fans, and actually in that South Bank, were cheering.
Yeah.
Because they were wanting Leicester to win.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, which is quite crazy.
Okay, let's leave the Premier League alone. Let's talk about the FA Cup then. I mean, we were just talking about it earlier. Is the FA Cup a tournament that Forest could target this season?
Yeah, why not? You know, I think it's always good to get, you know, I think for the Forest fans and, you know, for we're all Nottingham people now, it'd be great. You know, I went to the Championship playoff final, Wembley, and, you know, the atmosphere was unbelievable. If we could get that again at Nottingham Forest and, you know, have a return for what looks like it's going to be a good season, that'd be great.
Yeah, and what was that? I mean, I think you were injured, weren't you, during the FA Cup run? Is
for
that
most
right?
of the season, yeah, I was injured. It was my final season, and I only just got fit for the FA Cup final game. Got included in the squad, and I was just happy just to be a part of it. So I wasn't sure I was going to even make the bench. Yes, I made it on the bench. And I know how Brendan Rodgers, the manager at the time, thinks. I know if we went up, I'm coming on to see everything out.
I was listening on the coming back to the game.
When we scored and there was like 10, 15 minutes left, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to come on. But I wasn't 100% fit. You know, I was probably about 75% fit. But I
it's nice to get on and win it.
I didn't care. I just wanted to get on that pitch, and it was my final ever game, and lift the trophy.
Lift the trophy.
I mean, everyone talks about the winning the Premier League, but people forget you won the FA Cup as well. What was that? Was it a special moment? Was it a tournament that means a lot to you?
Yeah, I think, you know, from a child, you watch the FA Cup and the games were against the Giants versus the small teams, and you're like, oh, I wonder if it's going to be upset. And I think that's the buzz about the FA Cup, and to get to the final and to get a hand on a major trophy, you know, it is fantastic. I think for me personally, you know, knowing it was my final season, knowing that I've had a lot of injuries from, I think, around about December, January time, and just trying to get fit, just to try and get another game onto the pitch. That game being the FA Cup final, which my ever time I've played football professionally, makes it extra special.
You played nearly 800 games, didn't you? Over 700?
Yeah, over 700, yeah.
Yes.
So over 400 for Forest.
I think you had about 450
plus for,
yeah.
And then internationals
I
as
think
well.
you had about 440 appearances for Forest and over 300 for Leicester. Absolutely
it
fantastic.
Takes its toll
career.
in the end.
It won't take your toll. To play those professional games, especially as a centre half, you know, you're heading everything, you're tackling everything. That is amazing achievement for these footballers that get to that level.
Well, it's fantastic. I think for a lad from the Meadows to go and win the Premier League as captain, win the FA Cup and represent your country. Fantastic. Love chatting to you. Right. We've still got Notts County to cover and our weekend predictions on the way in just a moment. Welcome back to Team Talk with Charlie McFarland, Wes Morgan and myself, Mark Shardlow. Mansfield Town have 2 games in 4 days as they return from their international break. Training's been disrupted this week by the snow, but manager Nigel Clough says he's looking forward to getting his frustrations out following their defeat at Wrexham a couple of weeks ago.
Well, I have, but that's no good. I just hope the players have, and they'll be ready for Saturday. And it's not just Saturday; it's the next. I think we worked out we've got something like 11 games in 44 days, starting on Saturday against Bristol Rovers, which takes us through to Stockport on January the 4th. So a very intense period and a very important period, because there'll be times when the players will be in the team, on the bench, not in the squad at all, and we will be using the full squad over those 11 games without a doubt, especially over the Christmas period. Because when you look at December and stuff, 21st, 26th, 29th, 1st and 4th, 5 very important games, and I don't think there'll be too many playing all 5.
Did you like a bit of snow when you were training?
It's always good for the first day. You get the snowballs, you start throwing at everyone, and then after that, the novelty wears off. So and it's extra cold, so it's not ideal.
Does it disrupt things in a preparation to a game?
Yeah, it does. You know, I was at Forest training ground yesterday, and obviously we had a big blanket of snow overnight, and the kids had to train in the dome, and you've seen the groundsmen trying to shovel the snow out of the way, and it's so much just in time for the first team to come in the afternoon and train. So it does disrupt things. You know, you have to change your plans sometimes. You know, if you haven't got under soil heating, you might have to train indoors, and then that's not ideal sometimes. So yeah, well, everyone has to deal with it, but it's not ideal.
Yeah, and you were up there presumably at the training ground there. It looks pretty snowy up. That's the hard luck story, really, isn't it? Because Bristol, who they're playing, have probably had no snow this week. And Mansfield, we in the East Midlands have copped the snow.
Yeah, well, we had a game against Notts County supposed to yesterday under 21s, but that was called off obviously because of the snow. So the first team were in training, so I don't know what they got done, but there was a lot of snow up there, same as here. So it's disruptive. You just want to do what you do every week to prepare for the game.
Let's have a look at the table, Charlie. It's very tight, isn't it? The defeat to Wrexham sent Mansfield down to 7th, but they've still got games in hand over pretty much all the top 6, 2 games in hand and 3 games in hand in some cases. So we're not going to argue at all that this has been nothing short really of a really, really good start to life in League One after a couple of decades away. But there are some tough games that are coming up. Bristol Rovers home this weekend. Hopefully that's a 3-pointer, but Wickham away on Tuesday is a challenge.
They're all challenges. It's new territory for Mansfield Town League One, and Nigel touched on it at the start of the season. He says every game's a tough game. Even the teams that are down the bottom of the league at the minute, when Mansfield Town have played them, Nigel's came on here and says, if they're the poor teams, what are the good teams like? Yeah. It's a step up. So far they've did well. They're very unfortunate to lose against Wrexham. I really felt for them. Could have won that game in the second half, but they didn't, and they move on. Had a little bit break. all the squad's more or less fit. Resources steadily getting back. And Nigel says 11 games in 44 days. All the players will be ready to play at some stage. Two games coming up in quick succession. The one at home, it's imperative that you try and win your home games.
Yeah.
They're not easy. Then they're down to Wickham, who've won the last 5 games. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. They have to lose sooner or later, and hopefully it's against Mansfield on Tuesday night.
Yeah, Wickham are looking good at the top of the table.
Looking very good.
Yeah, let's move on to Notts County. They've got a lunchtime kick-off this weekend at home to Newport, after Notts lost their unbeaten away record at the weekend. Notts were without most of their key players, and it showed. They couldn't turn possession into goals. Crewe scored a stunning breakaway goal, and then, just like last season, County got on the wrong end of a poor penalty decision. Head coach Stuart Maynard says he thought Notts had the better chances.
That's us as a collective. Like I say, when we lose games, it's all of us together. When we win games, it's all of us together. I don't think we was at our best, but I still think we probably had the better chances within the game. I thought our game plan we came here with, I think, was working. And then they score on a counter with unbelievable blistering pace from our corner, which was a good delivery, and we nearly got in the end, and it looked threatening. And it does change the game. Goals do change games, but ultimately the standards that we've set ourselves as a group this year, we performed to a decent enough level in that first 40 minutes, but I believe we've got more, and we need to show that within the game, and that's where the frustration is, us as a group.
So what about that goal? That was crazy, really, wasn't it? It was a Notts corner, and within 10 seconds, Crewe had taken the lead. And Notts had done all right, I thought, in the first half. It was goalless, but
there was no one.
Okay, there wasn't much.
They set up. You're always vulnerable from your own corner, from the counter attack. And I thought the way Notts County, they went and ringed the box. The last man was well high up the pitch. Sometimes I just like to maybe have them round about, because they didn't leave anybody up.
No.
So normally if you leave somebody up, you've got 2 back. You've got 1 marking them, 1 in front. But there was nobody to mark, and they might have had their last man a bit deeper. And you shouldn't concede like that. You know, he's run the full length of the pitch, and the lad Abbott, who I think's a really good player, he just showed he's got a lot better lack of pace, because the lad just went away from him, nutmegged the goalie, and got the goal. So they'll be kicking yourself. The opponent scored when you've got the corner, you've got the dead ball.
Penalty? No way it was a penalty, was it?
No way at all.
Again.
The manager in Notts County must be, I'd be seething with that.
Yeah. And when you're 2-0 down, it's hard.
It's not even close to the penalty.
Yeah.
Not even close. But let's not take away, Notts County changed to 4-4-2. They didn't play well. Changed back to their normal system the second half. Brought David McGoldrick. They were a bit better, but still didn't create a lot. And they didn't really, I don't think they had better chances than Crewe. And to be fair, I was quite surprised, because Crewe, I didn't think were that good either.
Really?
But they were better than Notts.
Yeah.
I thought they were better in Notts, and that final third.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, Jata didn't play.
Yeah.
Crowley didn't play.
Yep.
Jody Jones didn't play. David McGoldrick's been carrying a knock. Maybe that's why he didn't start the game.
Yeah.
But for me...
And they've got 2 or 3 other injuries in midfield
I'd
as
always
well.
have David starting the game. If he's had a knock, and you can always take him off. But they're
probably without 6 or 7 starters. And they have been for some time, which, if we look at the table, I sort of think, all things considered, when you look at where Notts are in the table, you probably take it. You probably take it. Yeah.
If Notts County get all those players back for injury, they're getting promoted.
Yeah.
You talk about them, Crowley, Jody Jones, Jata, he was away on international duty.
Yeah.
They're the best players in the division.
Yeah.
I think there's certainties for promotion, Notts County.
Yeah.
And let's hope that happens.
We've thrown some stats at you there, Wes. Are you a stats man? Can you read anything from stats? What's your view on footballing stats?
Yeah, I like to set the base, my base opinion of stats, and I like to get my own eyes, my own touch on it. So there's some some merit to the stats, I suppose. But you know, just looking at the table for Notts County here, you know, only 6 points from the top.
Yeah.
You know, despite all the injuries that they have and they're carrying, you know, so you know, right in the monks of it, if you ask me.
Yeah, and Port Vale. Port Vale have been to Meadow Lane. Nothing special. I didn't think there really.
We speak about it every week. The league's not as strong as what it was last year.
No.
There's no Wrexham, Moneybags, Stockport. There's no Mansfield, who are a real good side in it last year. So you take them three out of it, and you see the other teams that are at the top now, and you're thinking, there's not a lot in there.
So if you're the manager of Notts County, are you looking to strengthen in January? I guess every manager wants to, but considering you've had half a dozen injuries, what are you going to say to the transfer panel?
Well, I'm looking at it, and we don't know when Cowley's back. We think Jody Jones is back in January, maybe.
Start of the new year.
Is it start of the new year? Jata, he's fine. So you're always looking. I'm sure they will have targets. The scenarios that are Notts County. If not, Notts County have to keep in touch with these players out. You have to keep in touch 3, 4, 5 points, or get up there, which I think they can, beside them. Then you'll say, all right, we're in third position. Jody Jones is not going to be back. He's not going to be back. We might need to, if the right one's out there, or the right couple's out there, you have to go and get them.
Okay. Right. Time for our predictions now. We're back to 3 games this weekend. Notts at the early kick-off on Saturday against Newport at Meadow Lane. Newport at home.
I think Notts will get back to their winning ways.
It's not a bad fixture. Newport at home, what are you saying?
I think that's a good fixture for them, you know, so yeah, a win for Notts County.
Okay, we're going for wins for Notts County. Arsenal against Forest, 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon at the Emirates.
I'm going for a draw. I'm going for a 1-1 draw.
And you've had a pretty good prediction record for Forest this season,
I've done okay. I've done okay.
Yeah, 1-1 draw.
You'll
1-1
take a
draw
draw
as well, because, yeah, I think just looking at how both teams have played so far and the position Arsenal in, and I think Forest will need to bounce back with just a good performance. A draw is probably the outcome.
Take a point there for sure. Mansfield against Bristol Rovers at the one call.
I'm going to go for a home win.
And
I'm going to copy once again, a home win.
Okay, Wickham, away at Wickham on Tuesday to finish off
draw.
this.
Take a draw at Wickham.
I'd take a draw all day long.
All day
Wickham.
long.
Yeah.
With the forum they're in.
I think we're hoping for any type of a point or 3 would be great, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see
But
on that one.
Mansfield are a good side. Good side.
Yeah, fantastic. Wes, I've loved chatting to you today. It's great that you've come on. All the best with your new job at Forest and hunting out the academy players of the future, because Forest have got a great, proud record of bringing academy players into the first team squad, so good luck with all of that. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck to all our teams this weekend, and we'll be back same time next week with Charlie and our guests to talk Forest, Mansfield and Notts County. See you then. Bye-bye.